Hey everyone, we are live. It's Sunday night. Welcome to my channel and my live stream. I have some special guests tonight who are back for a returning time. Before I bring Alice and Kevin on, I want to just say some announcements. So I'm Anita from Ketogenic Woman, for those of you who don't know who I am. If you're watching for the first time, I've lost about 145 pounds eating an animal-based ketogenic diet for a number of years. Still working on it. So that's that. I've got a couple of moderators. You'll see them in the chat. They will help with links and some of the questions and things like that, and help keep things on track. So I want to welcome Bonnie and Melissa. Melissa goes by Copper's Carnivore Kitchen. Next week, we are having Collagen Night. That will be the subject of the live stream. The video of the week this week is from Amy Berger, Keto Without the Crazy. I happened to catch it. Does your brain need carbs? It was an excellent video, so that is in the YouTube notes for you to enjoy sometime this week. And don't forget, we always have a free handout. That is also in the notes. And tonight it's a resource list of various YouTube channels and books and things that deal with exercise, especially for older women. So it seems appropriate to now bring Alice and Kevin on. So let's do that. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel.
Hey Anita.
Hi Anita.
It's so awesome to see you guys again. And how are things going with you?
Things are going well, yeah. Things are going really well. We do talk every single week, but
I know.
But it's nice to have us all together.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sorry?
Sometimes Alice joins in with the three of us, but
yes, that's right. I'm always excited to see Alice because I mean you've got your, how old is, I want to say baby, but I know that it's not a baby anymore. How old?
He's just about to turn 14 months. Yeah.
Okay, so toddler now. Yes, I can start calling him a toddler.
Yeah, not walking yet, but close.
Yeah. You know what? You'll be surprised how fast he just starts to run. So I know that keeps you busy, and that's actually something I want to talk about. Is later on when we get into it, is like how do you guys just keep up the pace and your exercise routine, all that stuff. But first let's just go over. So I think. I've never made it any secret that that you guys have been helping me with some coaching. You got my macros straightened out for me, and that was a great help. But the really big thing, the huge change, because I've been, pretty good carnivore, keto, animal-based, all these years. But what I haven't done is exercise. And so it's a really big change for me, because I kind of went from a few months ago thinking, oh, Kevin's going to make me exercise, to, oh, I wonder what I'm going to get to do next. Like it's been a slow shift. It's gone from chore to something that I actually look forward to, and I never miss my workout. Like I do it on my schedule that I've set for myself, and that's that. And you guys sent me a couple of things. Should I put up the graph first that you sent me, or the other thing?
Yeah, we can do the graph first. The graph is a good.
Okay, so here's the graph. Let's hope I do this correctly. So there we go. So this has sort of been my history with you guys.
Yeah.
And a nice downward trend there. And yeah, I go up sometimes, as you can see. I mean, I think that's normal, right?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some fluctuations up and down, but as you can see, the general trend is downwards.
Yes.
But what this doesn't show is the actual body recomposition, which we'll go into after.
Yes.
But yeah, if you look at the graph here, for the first 8 weeks, so almost half of it, you weren't exercising at all.
I wasn't. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
kind
you're
of
dealing with the knee injury at first.
yeah.
So that's a little bit better now, where you can exercise, which is really good.
Yes.
So the food is a huge part of it, kind of figuring out what works for you best. And that was kind of the first half of when we worked together. And then the second half here is more when we kind of brought in some more exercise.
Yes.
And then we continue to see results. So we're happy with how that's gone so far.
Yeah, I am too. So I'm going to bring the other thing up. So what shocked me the most about doing this is that in my past, typically my waist and hips have been the most stubborn thing. It's hard for me to lose weight around my hips.
Yep.
But I think I've lost so many inches off my hips that I'm shocked.
Yeah, for sure. So you started. Maybe we can go from the top and then kind of see where you saw the biggest changes. But yeah, the first one would be your weight.
5 inches.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, for your weight, you started at 189, right? So just at the top there. So when we got to your first week, you were down about 8 pounds, and now you're down 14. So
yeah,
with that.
Yeah.
And then so the top would be 5. So a huge change on your waist.
Yes.
And then another huge change on your hips as well. So.
Yes, that seems to be where a lot of change happened. So yeah, I mean, I have to say I'm pretty pleased with that, and I want to thank you for your help with the working out a workout routine, because I was a little challenging, I think, with my knee injury. I mean, I still to this day can't really get on the floor. I have to, although I've been trying, and I've been putting things on the I've been putting pillow on the floor, those times that I have to do that. And with floor stretches and things like that. So I'm doing them on the bed, and I'm doing them, on pillows and things. So I just I'm going to bring up this other picture.
For sure. Actually, one second before you do that,
sure.
I'm going to go over just some of the other body composition changes that people should look at in terms of when they're tracking their results, as opposed to only looking at the scale.
Yes.
Because the scale only turns so much in picture, right?
Exactly.
So as you can see here, over the first 8 weeks, you lost about 12 inches and 8.7 pounds. And then currently you're down 14 pounds, but you're down to 21 inches almost off your body.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Which is huge body recomposition change. So a lot of body fat lost.
Yes.
From the calculations, it looks like about 25 pounds. Now, that's not a perfect number. You'd have to go do a body scan, but based on your measurements, we can determine a body fat percentage approximately.
Yes.
There's also some scales that can do that for you.
I will be getting a DEXA scan when I go to the Hack Your Health.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, and I had one last year there, so I'm excited to see the difference.
Yeah, for sure. So based on these average numbers, so we're using a Navy method of calculating body fat percentage, which is a ratio of your certain measurements as long with your height.
Okay.
So that's how we calculate it. So based on those measurements, you're down about 25 pounds of body fat.
Wow.
You've gained about 11 pounds of lean muscle mass or bone. So some combination.
Yes,
I think these are the biceps for sure. And then your body fat percentage has dropped by 10%. So
wow.
So you're 10% of your overall body fat is converted into muscle, or you've just lost it. Which is really good results. So really happy with the changes. And I think you'll see from the picture that there's a big change in your kind of.
Yeah, and I was hesitant about the picture. I'm going to bring it up now. I was hesitant about the picture because I didn't see, I had to search through my phone to find the before, but I took this just before I started the exercise part of the program.
Oh, okay.
Sometime in September. I think I started doing some exercise in later than that. So this is from September.
Yeah.
So you can see in my hips and waist, I think. those 5 inches.
Yeah,
for about 12 weeks, that's a pretty visible difference for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And then, that was after 1 month of working with us already too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Started in August. So,
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
So you'd lost about 5 or 6 pounds by that point.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. And I think the biggest change that I've noticed personally, just from watching your videos, is kind of the face. Yeah. The face change. I can tell a really big change in your kind of the
definitely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So. Yeah, so thank you guys. That's amazing, and I, just at a personal level, like I feel like it's hard to say sometimes. Oh, I'm excited to do exercise, but I actually do feel that way sometimes. I very rarely get up and try to think of an excuse not to do it. Whereas that would have been, there was a time when I would have, oh, it's raining out, I'm not going to do it, even though it's indoors, right? Like any type of a reason. And I don't know why. It's just it's just so automatic now.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure how I got there. Do you have any explanation for that?
Yeah. Well, part of it's kind of just developing the habit.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. It takes, I don't know how many days they say to build a habit. I think the hardest part is definitely initially getting into an exercise routine. And then once you get past that hump, start to build it into a habit. And then eventually you look forward to it and you want to do it.
And then part of it could be having some accountability, whether it's in a group or coaching or something like that. And then just see your numbers. Like, I can see you're getting stronger and stronger every week. You're lifting more and more weights. You're adding more and more exercises in. Yeah. So kind of like, it's almost like competing with yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a bit of a competitive nature sometimes.
Yeah.
That's the fun part about resistance training in general, is that you get to see your numbers go up. Week over week, something to work towards, I guess, which is a little bit different than traditional cardio, which I know that, some people can find a little bit more tedious, but
yeah. So that reminds me of a question that I get a lot, and I'm kind of thinking you guys must get this a lot too, but if say you only had time for one, is it better to focus on cardio, or is it better to focus on strength and resistance?
I think it depends on what you're able to do at the time. But having more muscle on your body will allow you to have an increased metabolism. So you'll be able to burn more energy or calories or whatever you want to call it, while you're not exercising. So say you're sitting on the couch or you're cooking dinner, if you have more muscle on your body, you're burning more calories, even at rest.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So cardio doesn't really do that as much for you. Like, it'll burn calories at the time you're exercising, but having more muscle will allow you to burn more 24 hours of the day. The actual amount of calories you burn or energy you use during exercise isn't that much. So you could exercise for hours, but you could gain it back with a piece of pie really easily. Right? So, so you want to change the way your body, the shape of your body, the composition, so that it's easier. You want to make it, you want to stack things in your favor. Is what how I like to put it.
Okay.
Yeah. So our approach to exercise is definitely focus on resistance training, and then we can layer in things as well if people have the time and the capacity to do more. As well as the physical capability. But we always say that walking is the best form of exercise.
Yes.
So getting 5 minutes a day.
Almost anyone can do it. I mean, most people, can walk.
Yes.
And so I think it is a good thing. I mean, right now it's cold, and so I'm doing my most of my walking to a YouTube channel. There's walking workouts on YouTube, like walk at home and channels like that. I'm enjoying them. I'm enjoying getting that done, even when it's freezing cold outside.
Yeah, and we monitor all your steps, so I can tell you're getting quite a bit of walking. I see you get about 8,000 or more steps a day, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's tough for people to do that. And that's part of like getting the habit in as well.
Yeah.
So doing the exercise and doing the resistance training on every couple of days, as well as in the walks, developing those habits.
And then doing them day in, day out, and letting them kind of build up.
Yeah.
Right. Do you guys have suggestions for like one thing that I suffer from, and I you guys must to a certain extent. I mean, you've got the toddler. You guys are I think you're both still working at your jobs and that kind of thing. Finding the time. I mean, there are some days like I'm still working part-time, and I that will come to an end in a couple months. But on the days that I work, I'm chained to my desk like for hours. It seems, it feels like. And I'm pretty sure you've had some suggestions before. Do you want to share like maybe some of your ideas as to what you can do on a day like that?
Yeah, for sure. So I can say a strategy that we used when we coached you is some of the longer workouts, we split them in two. So we do like one in the morning, one at night. So instead of doing a 5-minute long workout, it'll be 2 20-minute long workouts.
Right.
And then especially since you have the ability to work at home, that makes it a lot easier.
Yes.
So you can kind of split them up that way. And that allows you to bring more intensity to the exercise because you're kind of giving yourself a little bit of a mental break, and then you can kind of go back to it fresh. For us, we basically wake up early, wake up before the baby does. And that's
the only way for us that we can make it into exercise.
Yeah.
Because for ourselves, we find that if we don't do it first thing in the morning, then we don't do it at all. So it's the first thing in the morning for us usually. Yeah. But another tip is for people who are working at their desk is to get an under desk walking treadmill. They're not super expensive. There's some inexpensive ones. You can look them up on Amazon, and they're not super bulky. They don't require a ton of space, but pretty easy to set up. And then that way you can kind of do some walking while you're working. That's a good way to get in steps without feeling like you have to.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about getting one of those.
So that's definitely
there just are times when like there's just so many things that need to get done.
We've come to realize that that's the only way we can hit 10K steps a day is that if we're working and walking at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So we can do that, or under desk trickle bike. There's a bunch of cheap ones on Amazon that are good. Say you have some knee issues, and you don't want to put as much weight on your legs. That's a good option. I found that with having those sorts of tools that you can use, whether sitting on your couch watching TV or working, they allow you to get a lot of steps in. So like for me, I'll get up to 15,000 steps pretty easily.
Okay.
I use it like for 3 or 4 hours a day, along with just walking around the house and running errands.
Okay.
Like that. So unless the weather permits, it's always better to go outside and get the sunlight.
Yeah, that's always nice too.
But the weather permitting and time permitting, those are the options available.
Yeah. So, do you have any? I mean, that's I like that under desk solution, and I'm actually considering it. I'm wondering about, for example, I have a knee surgery coming up, and I know there's going to be several weeks where I probably won't be walking. So, like, how can people who are, say, recovering from a surgery or maybe they're bed bound or chair bound for a certain amount of time. Are there things that they can do to just sort of maintain a little bit of fitness level during that time?
Yeah, for sure. Like obviously first you want to listen to your doctor and make sure your doctor's cleared you.
100%.
Exercise. But say you had a knee surgery and there's always things you can do with your upper body. So if you have a chair, you can do exercises in your chair with your upper body, with dumbbells. You would just try to isolate areas of your body that you don't want to move. So, or you'll want to, like in your example, you had the knee issue that you were dealing with. So we kind of avoid certain exercises. specifically the lunges we don't do because they're a little bit too tough, but we kind of worked around that. And I think there's always ways to work around injuries when you're trying to train, and you don't want to be putting yourself through pain ever.
No.
You do want to aim for, like, there's always soreness that comes with exercise, but you don't want to have, that's more like muscle soreness. You don't want to have like joint pain. That's when you know you're taking it a little bit too far.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see, I'm just going to go over to see the questions here. Amy, thank you very much. Northern Arizona. I do have some more questions for you, but just want to see what's coming in from the audience. Okay, so here, this was actually one of my questions too, from Susan. Wrist weights and ankle weights. What do you guys think about that? I know some people go out walking with them. I've seen people out walking with weights, and also backpacks seem to be something that people are doing. And what about Susan's question here with wrist and ankle weights, just maybe doing housework or something?
Yeah, I think those are a good option. So when you're walking, you want to walk to kind of maximize the fat burning benefits. You want to walk to a point where you can still maintain a full conversation, but up to that point. So right below that. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of simulate that by adding some extra resistance, or you can walk uphill, what makes it a little bit tougher. So walk that, like adding on the weights to your wrists and ankles, kind of simulates walking uphill more. Mm-hmm. So you're adding some little bit more effort, increasing your heart rate slightly, maybe put you in a fat burning zone. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a great.
Okay. Okay, so it's not a bad thing. I know that there was somebody in the group who said that they had trouble lifting free weights, so that might be a solution for them, is to use a wrist weight or ankle weight. So what I think maybe you could tell us what the benefits of exercise are. I know you probably have that list or something, because I think we all sort of say, I hear people say, oh, exercise is good for you, but what kinds of things is it good for? How does it benefit?
I would say it's very transcendent overall. Just exercise and kind of getting into the groove and seeing it impact other areas of your life. But yeah, there are definitely some physical benefits to building muscle, which I think Kevin can probably speak to.
So exercise has been associated with a lot of like longevity. So obviously it's going to help you live longer, which is amazing. Putting on muscle mass in general will help longevity, because typically after people reach a certain age, it's much harder to put on muscle mass.
Yeah.
And that's a big indicator of mortality as well. So so people drastically, if they don't have the muscle mass yet, they will continue to lose it, especially if they're not doing anything with those muscles. So you definitely want to stimulate them through resistance training by adding more weight. And there's a difference between exercise and training. So that's why I kind of like to put a difference between the two. So what we like to do with what we're doing with you is more like training, where exercise is kind of more like going through the motion. So exercise would be like going for a walk or going for a run, where training is more, you're focused on a specific goal. You're progressing every single week, making it more and more intense to a certain point. Take a break in between. And then for a certain period of time, say with your program, it's about 8 weeks, we have like a training block where we increase your weights, we increase your reps. And then you kind of see progression over those 8 weeks, and then we take a break. And then we kind of restart again. So training is a little bit more focused, where exercise is more just doing the activity without a specific goal in mind. So for yourself, it's more body recomposition, For most of our clients, it's more body recomposition is the goal. We're focusing on specific activities to get done over those 8 weeks with a strategy in mind to maximize the amount of fat loss as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. A little bit of difference.
Yeah.
Both are beneficial, and both you should have in your life. But yeah, that's a little bit of difference.
Okay. All right. Thank you for going through that. So hang on a second. You talked a lot about the building of the muscle and how if we have more muscle mass, that's going to burn more throughout the day and that kind of thing. How does protein play into it? Because I know that's one thing that you guys asked me to do was to increase my protein.
Yeah, did you want to this one?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I would say, basically after every workout, you will have you'll have to recover basically. Mm-hmm. So you'll probably feel sore the next day, and the protein really works as building blocks to build up those muscles and repair them, as well as grow them past the point they were just at. So
the muscle is basically breaking down a little bit every time you work it out, and then needs to rebuild.
Yeah.
So that's where the protein, I guess, comes in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Handy, and having a protein-focused diet, such as your carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Right.
That goes hand in hand.
Yeah. So it makes it all really easy to kind of get enough. That's one of the benefits of being on a meat-based diet.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why we like it. And then the other part of it is the main thing is the recovery. I would say is just getting enough to recover, because if you don't get enough, you'll feel sore. You won't feel as motivated to do it again the next time. Mm-hmm. So recovery is key. So working out is one part, but then recovering is, I would say, more important than the actual sitting there and exercising. And training is with the recovery. You have to get that dialed in for sure. And that comes with food and as well as sleep. Okay.
So if somebody, say my age, because you guys, I've mentioned to you before that the people who watch my channel are generally my age and older. Do you think that that some of us are maybe not eating enough protein to recover properly? To build muscle or to even maintain what we have as we age. 'Cause, I'm thinking about the time I watched my mother just deteriorate her mobility. Just, it was like just a deep dive. Once she started losing it, it was almost impossible to reverse that with her.
Yeah, I think it tends to be very common, especially with women, under eating protein. That's something that we see as a pretty common thing, especially the clients that we work with. So making sure you get 1 gram per pound of lean body mass is generally what we recommend as a starting point, making any adjustments as needed based on your results. But yeah, under eating protein is definitely a very common thing.
Yeah, and I would say that there's basically 2 ways to trigger muscle protein synthesis, which is your body utilizing protein to build up the muscles. One of them is to work out, to stimulate it through an adaptation. So you lifted 5 pounds, you're normally lifting 5 pounds, and now you're able to lift 10 pounds. That adaptation will allow you to build muscle. And the other way you can stimulate muscle protein synthesis is by eating protein. So those are 2 different ways you can do it. And as people age, their ability to absorb protein decreases. So typically you need more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So typically people need more as they get older, which is somewhat counterintuitive.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, I just watching my mom when she was aging, I felt like she was eating a lot less protein than she was before. It just seemed like she went more towards carbs and less meat. And I wonder if that's typical as people get older, if they have trouble with it or something. I don't know. But I guess it's something that we need to be conscious of.
I would say a lot of people undereat it.
Yeah.
Especially if they're exercising. Yeah, especially if you're doing resistance training. You definitely need enough.
Okay. Okay, so I have another question here from Carol. Oh, we were just talking about this. So, do you recommend extra protein or protein powder or creatine when lifting weights? Want to address that?
Oh yeah, we don't
creatine and the
recommend
protein.
trying to get protein from the food, as you probably know. Just
Yes.
I mean, it's easy on carnivore because beef in general has a lot of protein. Fish, all that whatever you can eat on carnivore generally is pretty high
Right.
protein.
Yeah.
It's just a more natural source as opposed to supplements. Protein powders, which we see more as supplements, which are okay too for people who have a really hard time getting in all the food down. But I think the most bioavailable source is definitely from the animal itself.
Yeah.
But I know that there's people that the Equip protein powder, the grass-fed is a good one.
Yeah.
Or in our space.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty clean. What is this creatine? Am I saying it right?
Yeah. So creatine is a compound that's in, you can get it in supplement form. So it's commonly used by bodybuilders to increase ATP, which is energy of your muscles. But the good thing about being on a carnivore diet is that red meat has a very high concentration of creatine.
Oh, okay.
Typical dosages that you see recommended for creatine, if you're a bodybuilder, is somewhere between 5 and 10 grams.
Okay.
But if you have 2 pounds of red meat per day, you're getting that 5 grams approximately.
Oh, okay.
So if you're eating enough red meat, typically, I don't think most people probably won't need creatine. Like we don't take creatine, but if you want to supplement it, it is well studied. There is a lot of support for creatine as a supplement, especially for performance. And there's a lot of studies on it for brain health and brain performance as well. But it's highest concentration of creatine is in red meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So typically then if someone is eating a lot of red meat, lion diet or even maybe just regular carnivore where there is a lot of red meat, they probably don't need to supplement with that.
Creatine already.
Okay.
You could take more and see if it increases your strength. But you do get some water retention from it. Some people it doesn't affect their digestion as well. So you want to experiment and see if you want to go. It depends if you have a specific like athletic goal you're trying to reach or a physical goal.
Right.
So
I think probably most of us are just trying to make sure we can get up out of a chair in 10 years or something.
I wouldn't worry. If you have a bodybuilding goal, or a sports goal that you're trying to go for and you want to reach a higher peak, then it's a good option.
Okay. All right. Thanks for answering that. So high five. I've lost 215 pounds over 10 years. Oh my goodness. Like, congratulations. That is amazing. Gastric bypass, I cannot talk. Gastric bypass, keto and carnivore. What do you recommend to help reduce excess skin? Plastic surgery, exercise. Are there exercises that can help with that?
I'm not sure if there's specific exercises that will reduce excess skin. I've heard, or I think I've heard that autophagy may help with it. So
intermittent fasting.
Because it recycles those cells. So that could be an option, but the fasting isn't for everyone, or extended fasting isn't for everyone. So it depends on the person. But I'm not really sure if there's specific exercises that can be done to reduce excess skin.
Yeah, I kind of think that's probably what I hear out there as well.
But 215 pounds over 10 years is...
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Like, kudos to you. That's a lot of dedication, hard work.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. My goodness.
I know High Five, she watches our channel as well, so thanks for
supporting. Oh, awesome. Okay, so a question from Audrey. What do you think of the 12-3-30 treadmill workout for fat burning? I don't think I've heard of that.
12-3-30 is.
I wonder what it is. Okay. But it does remind me of another question that somebody had about that slow burn method. So Audrey, maybe you could throw another comment in, just ask or just clarifying what that means. But the slow burn is 5 second, like when you're lifting a weight, 5 seconds down, pause for 5 seconds, and 5 seconds back up. I think that's how I understood it. Have you heard of that? And if so, what do you think of that?
I haven't heard of that exact system before, but I could talk about something that we kind of use in your workouts, Anita.
Yes.
So there's a concept called time under tension, which is similar to what's happening with, I think, the slow burn method, where basically muscle is impacted by a couple things. One is the position that you are before you're lifting. So you want to make sure your muscle is fully stretched out. So for example, like in a picture, I can just do my arm here. Right now, my tricep is fully stretched out. So you want to maximize that stretch before you lift. So having a full stretch will increase the amount of muscle that you can potentially gain. Another aspect is having proper form. And then another aspect is time under tension. So how long is your muscle under tension? So, and that basically involves slowly releasing the weight under control. So you can see in your workouts that we do for you, Anita, that when you're doing your reps, it's like 3 to 4 seconds, the negative portion of the lift. Right. So if you're lifting 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So that portion creates like a slow burn, but it's really, you want to have tension on your muscle for a longer period of time, and that stimulates more muscle growth.
Yeah.
So similar.
It took me a while to get used to doing that.
Yeah.
Because you tend to do it quickly because of momentum. It's like, the faster I do it, the easier it is. But but slower, oh my goodness, that you can really feel it.
So the weights you use will decrease, and that would happen to your numbers as well. Your weights that you're using decrease, but we're not in the gym to show how much weight we can lift.
Right.
We're in the gym to build muscle so that we can eventually burn fat.
Yes.
So that's more about technique and form, and strategically doing things to maximize the potential benefit. So, and not what the term is like ego lifting, where you as much as you can without proper form, or you go really fast. We don't really want to do that. We want to maximize the results. So.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so Audrey came back and says that that 12-3-30 is 12% incline, 3 miles per hour for 30 minutes.
Oh, that's a great workout.
Sounds like it might be zone 2 training.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So low intensity for Yeah.
So that will put you in. I should put you in a fat burning heart rate.
Yes.
So the majority of the energy that you're using during that workout will be fat. Once you get above a certain heart rate, and it's different for everyone depending on what their max heart rate is, you'll be burning more sugar that's in your blood, or muscle glycogen. But if you're in that lower zone, kind of at the high end of the low zone, you'll be burning mostly body fat, which is good. But it just takes more time. So 30 minutes is a decent amount, but the more you can do it, the more fat you'll burn, basically.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for answering that. And thanks for clarifying, Audrey. Patty, should a person increase reps first or weights first?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. So another concept that people should include in a training plan is progressive overload. So that means that every workout or every week, you are increasing the difficulty of your training. So that could be through adding an extra rep, adding an extra weight, or adding an extra set. So an extra group of lifts. So like you would do an extra set of bicep curls or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really matter if it's reps first or weights first. You can do either, whatever feels more comfortable for you at the time. Both will produce a new stimulus for your muscles to adapt to.
Okay. I think it's sort of like with me, I wasn't really sure what was happening. I was just doing what I was told
Yeah.
in the beginning, and then it sort of evolves. It seems to evolve.
Yeah. So we change your workouts every week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We build this in so that you don't have to do the thinking in the back end.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, this is all built into your program. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Okay, so now this is a question from Jay. Hello, Jay. I'm carnivore, but trying to get my son more and more towards ketovore. I assume probably from regular American diet. Does anyone here have recommendations for carnivore syrup that doesn't have a bitter aftertaste? I don't even. The only carnivore syrup I know about is melted butter. But I'm assuming, maybe if you're trying to get them ketovore, maybe, I don't know. If somebody has an answer for that, I think stevia sometimes has a bitter taste for people. So if you're using a syrup that has stevia in it, it might be bitter. But if anyone has any recommendations for Jay, please tag him and let him know what might be good.
yeah, I've seen some keto syrups out there.
Yeah, there's some keto syrup.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Erythritol or stevia sweet.
Yeah.
Some are sucralose.
I think the bitterness is also, it kind of, you get used to it over time. Sort of like, and it's always going to taste.
Yeah.
Bitter.
Yeah, it's not going to taste quite like the old stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Bobby.
Okay, Bobby. If I still have sore muscles 2 days after lifting, should I repeat the same series of exercise or switch to try to focus on other muscle groups? That's a good question too.
We generally recommend switching it up. Usually soreness is a good thing, and soreness, again, that feeds back to the process of how the muscle fiber is tearing down and rebuilding itself. So definitely giving the muscle some break if you have sore muscles, and switching it up to focus on other muscle groups is a good idea.
Yep.
Okay. Question from Audrey again. Oh, Audrey is serious here. Kettlebells and sprinting. What are the quickest workouts for the least amount of time for the most fat loss?
Yeah. So interval training is kind of like sprinting. That would probably have the most bang for your buck.
I think the most bang for your buck is something like Tabata style training. If you are looking for something like sprinting.
Okay.
That's going really hard for a short period and then resting for a short period. But then you don't have to work up that much. So you don't have to be on the treadmill for 30 minutes or elliptical for 45 minutes or anything like that.
Okay.
If you're speaking on that. And then kettlebells are also great as well.
So
but in terms of maximum effort for time, I would say.
Yeah, probably sprinting.
Yeah.
Sprinting.
So sprinting, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And not everyone has the ability to go full tilt sprints.
Yeah.
Where you're giving your all for 10 or 20 seconds, but you need to, but then, it's pretty tough on your body. So if you have the ability to, that's amazing. But if you have like any sort of knee issues, it can cause
I don't think I would attempt it at all. Because I've seen how people do it, and so to me it seems like it's risky, depending on what your issue is.
One thing to be cautious of those sorts of exercises that can really spike your hunger, high intensity sort of exercises. So that's just something to keep in mind, the hunger spike that you get afterwards.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that question, Audrey. Michelle, it is typical the last sense of taste to go is sweet. That's why elderly mostly want sweets. And that was true about my mom. Your mom is 89, and if it's not sweet, she won't eat it. Oh, yeah, I get that. Oh, thanks, Michelle. Anne, why does eating beef fat not increase body fat on the carnivore diet?
Well, the carnivore diet in theory, is a zero carb diet. So if your body isn't running on carbohydrates for fuel, then the body needs fat. That's why the fat from the beef is an energy source and it's necessary because your body is burning fat instead of sugar as its fuel.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it doesn't increase body fat. Obviously, if you overeat anything, you will increase body fat. Beef fat is a good option for fat because it has stearic acid. So stearic acid has been shown to increase the metabolization of fat in the cells. So it's a good fat source for fat burning, if that makes sense.
It definitely flies in the face of everything I learned. My generation, we were told to fear the fat above all else, and but you should see the fatty meat I eat.
I would say the primary source of fat that we consume is beef fat. So,
yeah. Okay, Val, when you get over 50, you start having trouble efficiently digesting protein, so you have to eat more than you did when you were younger. More protein than when you were younger. Okay. Yeah, I think that seems to be the case. Christy, do you cut back on your calories if you are having surgery on your foot and can't exercise for a couple months, or just eat as much as you do on the carnivore diet until you're full? Oh, that's a really good question. I will definitely be wondering that question. What do you do if you know you're going to be laid up for a couple months?
Well, yeah, that's a tough one.
Your body will require less energy if you won't be able. If you don't move. I think that happens naturally. Like your body's hunger hormones will adjust naturally if you are not as active.
So you probably won't be as hungry.
Yeah, I think you probably won't be as hungry.
Technically, I think that's correct. But from a food addiction point of view, some of us don't have that natural. What is it? Our intuition and all those sorts of things are a little broken. I know it was for me. Like you don't get to be over 300 pounds if all of those things are working right.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking ahead for myself that I may have to make it a conscious decision.
Yeah. If you know kind of where your maintenance level is, if you've been doing it for a while, like you kind of know where your maintenance level is. You know where to start tweaking from.
Yeah,
that's a big benefit. So maybe before going into surgery, if you kind of know where your maintenance level is, then you can kind of approach it with a little bit more knowledge.
And that is a good place to know your TDEE. And there's all kinds of online calculators where you can calculate where should you fall in approximately. It's not a magic number, but it's a good guide. And I'll definitely be keeping this in mind. Thanks for that question, Christy. Lonnie, I was late to the live. What is the formula to determine how much protein a 60-year-old woman needs per day on carnivore?
Yeah, so we start typically at 1 gram per pound of lean body mass, but we typically change it depending on level of activity, age,
ideal weight.
Yeah,
it's a combination of factors. So it's hard to say just based on age. Activity, age, ideal weight, measurements.
What fat to protein ratio works best for you?
Yeah, how long you've been fat adapted for as well, because that makes a big difference too. So someone that's newer to carnivore may want to try a higher fat percentage as they become more fat adapted.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with me, you guys went a little bit higher because probably going by my lean body mass at the time, I probably would have been hungry, I think.
So if someone was having it on the lower end of the protein, they would probably need to have more fat to make up for it.
Yeah.
And if it depends on their training as well. If they are lifting a lot or exercising a lot, you'll probably need more protein.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Lonnie. Claudia, has a question. Does andropause affect the protein and fat intake or even types of food source and quantity type of exercise 70-year-old male has to take in keto carnivore?
Andropause. I've never heard of that term, actually.
I feel like it might be the male version of menopause, but I'm just guessing. I'm not familiar with that as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It seems like it is. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think the question stumped me a little bit because
Yes.
it's from Claudia. So
yeah, it seems to be the male version of menopause.
Okay. Yeah. So how does this affect men if they're old, like 70 years old, and you want to start getting into exercise? Is it like us women where they should also be having more protein to make that happen?
Well, I would judge it based on your recovery. If you are exercising and you're not feeling like it's taking way too long for you to get back in the gym again or back to doing exercise again, then maybe you do need to tweak things and change things up and add a little bit more food in general as well. It could be fat and protein at the same time.
Okay. All right. Claudia, a different Claudia. How does the carnivore diet affect insulin resistance? You need to read Ben Bickman's book, Why We Get Sick. It is an entire book that talks about how the different foods and diets affect insulin resistance.
there have been a lot of success stories of people reversing type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, because carnivore is basically zero carbohydrates. Other than, I mean, there are some a lot of people mistakenly think that there's no carbs in carnivore, but some of the animal foods, like an egg, has 0.6 carbs in each egg.
Trivial amount of carbs, yeah.
Yeah, there's animal carbs, but the lack of the other carbs, the sugars, the processed carbs, generally your insulin, your fasting insulin level is going to slowly decrease because of that. But I don't have a scientific answer. I don't know. Do you guys have?
I would just say it helps with overall blood sugar control.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have some time for a couple more questions, but let me see. I had some here too. Where did they go? Oh, I think I asked that already. I want to ask about rebounders. Somebody wanted. I've actually had several people say, "Ask about rebounders. Ask about rebounders." So I think I asked you last week, Kevin, and you have not used one, so you weren't,
No,
you're not really.
I've never personally used one, but I would, just from knowing what they are and seeing them, it's a good way of getting some cardio in with low impact. So maybe if you have injuries or you're dealing with something like that, and you don't want to do a lot of running or anything where you're putting a lot of impact on your joints, then that's a good way to do it. I've heard some other benefits to do with circulation.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've heard some other benefits to do with circulation. So those could be good benefits. It's a little trampoline, right? So I guess.
It is, yeah. I mean, I would think, especially, since a lot of the people that are watching us are in the older group, I would maybe look at getting one of the ones that has the balance bar.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would feel comfortable on it without one of those, because I just never know what my knee is going to do. And if you have bone on bone arthritis or something, I don't think you're supposed to actually jump on them. I think you're just supposed to gently move.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, they can perform a low intensity form of cardio. So if you can't walk, maybe that's a good option. If you have some sort of mobility issues, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Anything you can do to catch you to that next level of movement is a good option.
Yeah. I think some people use those also for circulation and to help with their if they have edema in their legs, any type of swelling, that kind of thing. So I want to give you guys a chance. In my video notes, there's a link to the recipe site that you guys have, because I think your recipes are really amazing. Some of my favorite recipes that are in my rotation, I have gotten from you guys. So I hope that people will look in the video notes and check out the recipe site. There's also a link to your calendar to if people want to book like a consultation to find out if coaching is right for them. So that link is there as well. And you guys have a special offer for people who are watching this live stream as well. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we're happy to offer anyone who books with us within the next 24 hours or so $100 discount.
Okay.
With coaching. So
wonderful. That's awesome.
Thank you everyone for being here and your viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I have gained a lot from lost a lot, but also gained a lot from being one of your clients. So I definitely want to thank you, and you guys know that I'm fans of what you have been doing, and glad to see your channel is growing. It's always exciting to see that happening. Final call for any last questions, but I think I think that might be it. So I'm going to say a few hellos. Hello, Patty and Martha. Nice of you to be here. And Danny, Little Willow, Michelle. Thank you guys very much for coming out on a Sunday night. And I'm just going to go to the main chat over here. Oh, it's not letting me go over there. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, Yvonne, yay. I see Yvonne. I see, who else do I see here? Oh, I'm having trouble with my mouse today. Sorry, you guys. Lady Fritzader and Caprice. Dana, Squeaky Toys. And I love that name, Squeaky Toys. High Five. Carol, Kathy. Thank you guys all for coming. So I think we're at the top of the hour now. Please do check out the video notes and check out Alice and Kevin's channel and their recipe site and their link to book a consultation. And I mean, you never know. Just just have a chat with them and find out if that could work for you. And keep putting your questions down there, because I come back later and I will try to answer them as best I can or pass them along or whatever. So do you guys have any closing comments you want to make?
Nothing specific. Yeah, just thanks for having us on the channel again.
Thank you.
We're super happy with your progress and results so far. We love working with you. You're an awesome client.
Yes.
So.
And I think you're about to hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube yourself, right? Almost there?
Almost there. Yes. I'm just kind of blown away by that. I just don't even know how that happened, but here we are. And I have no doubt you guys are going to keep growing too. So keep up the good work and all the useful information. So anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for your questions and your time. And come back next week for the collagen night. And actually, one of the recipes that I have been making is something I learned from Alice and Kevin's recipe site, with the how to make those beef tendons. And I never knew how to make them. And now I do. So thank you guys for that. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Alice and Kevin. Nice to have you back here. And we are...
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.